Hello, I'm Kaiser and welcome to Moose Reads. Before I get started, I want to say that the opinions that I give here are my own opinions. They are extremely subjective. If I dislike a book, it is not a reflection on the author, and it is not a reflection on people who do like it. Different people have different tastes, and that's okay. Today, I will be reviewing Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. This is a historical romance, the description says. When 10-year-old Fanny Price is plucked from squalor to be raised in comfort at elegant Mansfield Park, home of her well-off relatives, the Bertrams, only her teenage cousin Edmund notices her homesickness and distress. He comforts her, instructs her, and helps her to become a competent, self-possessed young woman. Fanny thrives as a useful and happy member of the household, while her natural feelings of gratitude and respect for Edmund grow into something deeper. But then trouble arrives at Mansfield Park. Rich, sophisticated Londoners Henry and Mary Crawford are a brother and sister act to be reckoned with. Mary sets her romantic sights on Edmund, and Fanny is faced not only with a powerful rival, but also with Edmund's need to talk endlessly about his infatuation with the dark-eyed beauty. Forced to hide her abiding love for Edmund, Fanny must soon fend off amorous advances from a most unwelcome source. Advances that Edmund encourages her to accept. With further help from Henry and Mary, even a bad situation can become much worse. 3 stars. Mansfield Park is one of the books in the half of Austen I had, up until a month or so ago, never actually interacted with. I've seen movies for Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, and Emma, and I've also read those first two, but I didn't even know what Mansfield Park was about. I have since become acquainted with both Mansfield Park and Persuasion, which I intend to read in November, but Northanger Abbey is still a complete mystery to me. I didn't go into this book with high expectations, but I'm determined to read all of Austen eventually, and I had already chosen this as my challenge book for September before I knew anything about it. Owing to some very poor choices made in the 1999 film adaptation, I kind of thought I would hate this. It was a relief to find that it wasn't as bad as I expected. I still don't love it, though. For the most part, the book is fine. It's interesting enough to keep me engaged, anyway. The characters were also fine. I didn't feel any real attachment to any of them, including our protagonist Fanny, but they weren't terrible. I did feel like some of the characters came off more as props than actual characters. Of course, not all characters in any given story can be fully fleshed out, but I felt like a few of these ones ought to have been given at least a little more. The other thing, of course, is the romance. Theoretically, these are all romance novels, but I honestly felt like the romance in Mansfield Park was severely lacking. Austen spends a lot of time building up Edmund's relationship with Mary, but she just sort of treats Fanny's feelings as a given, without really showing how they were formed. Worse still, when they finally do get together, it's in the book's wrap-up and feels like little more than a footnote. Ultimately, I wouldn't be bothered if, for some reason, I had to read this book again, but I can definitely see why this book is not one of the more popular of the bunch. That's it for no spoilers. If you don't like spoilers, now is the time to pause or close the video. For everyone else, let's talk details. My prime example of a character that felt more like a prop is Edmund's older brother, Tom. I don't think he actually really appeared until a fair way into the novel, despite living in the same house as Fanny. When he did show up, it was to introduce another prop character that pops up again at the very end of the novel, and to cause a bit of trouble. He and his friend, Mr. Yates, arrive at Mansfield Park after Yates has been disappointed when a play he was putting on got cancelled before it was ever presented. Tom suggests they put on a play at home, which cheers Yates up considerably and gets everyone else excited as well. It ends up pushing Edmund and Mary together a bit more, as well as furthering a rivalry between his sisters, who are both trying to catch Henry's attention, despite one of them being engaged already. The play is eventually thwarted once more when Sir Thomas arrives home and gets angry at what he considers inappropriate behavior. After that, Tom seemed to more or less disappear from the book until he was needed again. The point where he's needed again is to get sick. thereby forcing Fanny to extend a visit to her parents, parting Edmund and Mary for a while as the former tends to his brother, and allowing Mary to stick her foot very firmly in her mouth by suggesting it might be better if he died and Edmund became the heir to Mansfield. We don't actually see him at all when he's sick, only get told that he is, and once he recovers, he once again fails to matter at all. Not that there's much book left by that point, anyway. Still, given that he is kind of a key figure in the household, being the heir and all, it felt like he should have had more substance. Yates was similarly picked up and dropped as needed in a way that felt jarring. He's there for the play debacle and leaves once Sir Thomas has returned. After that, I don't think he was even mentioned again until near the end when one of Edmund's sisters elopes with him. Yates isn't a character I would really expect to get all that much attention, honestly. It just felt very strange when he suddenly mattered again without having been mentioned for most of the book. I would have liked to see him woven into the story a little better, is what it comes down to. I think that's all I have to say about the book specifically. In case anyone is curious, I thought I'd explain why the movie left such a sour taste in my mouth where the book didn't bother me. The first issue is that they made Sir Thomas a much bigger asshole in the film. At some point in the book, in order to encourage Fanny to accept Henry's proposal by reminding her how much poverty sucks, he suggests she visit her family, who she has not seen in years. She's excited at the idea and goes happily. In the movie, however, he's so pissed that she won't marry the man that he exiles her to her parents' house as a punishment. In the film, when Tom gets sick, it's because he was out drinking and passed out in the street. While he's sick, Fanny is tending to him at his bedside when she discovers a series of drawings he made that imply that the reason he was drinking so much is because he was horrified by what he saw while he and Sir Thomas surveyed their business in Antigua. There's really no getting around the fact that the business in question almost certainly involves slavery, but it's never actually stated in the book. I guess the movie people felt the need to address it, though, and they did so by implying that what drove Tom to drink was his father raping and abusing the slaves. It was kind of an intense thing to insert, especially given that it isn't addressed in any way. It also really makes Sir Thomas seem despicable, despite him mostly coming across as fairly amiable, but somewhat uninvolved with his family in the book. The second thing that I didn't care for was the way the relationship between Fanny and Henry unfolded in the film. I mean, I have issues with how it went in the book as well. He went very quickly from wanting to seduce Fanny to being in love with her, and then suddenly ran away with her married cousin just when he was making progress, which felt a little inconsistent, though not so much that it really bothered me. The way it went in the film, however, was a different kind of terrible. First, where in the book he tries to win Fanny over by helping her beloved brother get promoted to an officer in the Navy, in the movie he wastes money on a big display of fireworks and doves that does nothing but look pretty. Meanwhile, Fanny is in the middle of her exile, living with her poverty-stricken family. Seems like there were better ways to woo her. Then Fanny actually agrees to marry him, which she never does in the book, only to change her mind the very next day. Nothing can justify Henry running off with a married woman, but I can at least understand him abandoning Fanny when she's so fickle in her feelings. But the thing that really pissed me off was at the very end. Like I said, I felt like the romance was pretty lackluster in the book, but in the film, after spending the entire runtime besotted with Mary, he and Fanny get together and he tells her that he's always loved her. I get what they were going for, but I feel like that kind of statement requires some qualifiers to be anything other than insulting. Maybe that's just me. That's all I have to say about Mansfield Park. If you like this video, I hope you'll watch more in the future. Thanks for watching this one. Bye!